Observation drawing video number 2. So anytime you plan on doing a lengthy drawing or drawing from observation, you always want to start with warm-up drawings. These are timed, these are short, these are building the hand-eye coordination that are going to hopefully prevent you from making the mistake of like drawing something incorrectly, erasing it, drawing it again incorrectly, and having that happen over and over. So I'm seated back from my still life, and when you sit and you draw from observation, you want to have your paper between you and your subject. You never want to draw at something sideways, right? So here's my paper right here. And you want to be sure that your paper is oriented the same direction. So all my pieces of glass together as a group are wider than they all are tall. So that means I'm going to have my paper horizontal in front of me. And really, when you're drawing from observation, the only two things that are moving are your eyes and your hand. You shouldn't have to turn your head. You don't want to bend over your paper and then sit up and repeat that process. Observation drawing is really having your eye on your subject as much as your paper. So when I first start out with warm-up drawings, I will actually count in my head and draw 2 to 3 seconds. You're drawing small portions of the glass instead of drawing the whole thing. If you draw more than 3 seconds without looking back at your subject, you are drawing from memory. And that's how you have those mistakes and the frustration. So there's my still life. I'm going to turn the camera so that my paper, you guys can see my paper, and I'm just going to do a time lapse of me drawing that still life, right? This would be like a 3.5 minute drawing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my tallest piece of glass, which was that little bottle with the cork in it, and I want to mark where the top edge is and the bottom edges. And these are not finished drawings, right? These are building hand-eye coordination. But I have to leave enough room, like in this drawing, I have to leave enough room at the bottom so that there's room for glass in front of it. So I mark that first, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to sketch that form out. And again, I am looking every 2 to 3 seconds. The neck of the bottle is the same height as this here. Handle. And the size of this larger piece of glass is going to determine the proportion of the next biggest piece of glass. So now, right, looking back, now I'm going to do the beaker with the spout on it. So I'm going to line up my pencil and close one eye at arm's length and figure out the top of that beaker lines up right here with the side of this bottle. And it's a little bit closer, so the bottom of it is going to be below the bottom edge of this. And then I want to pay attention to the negative space as well. And then I will draw that form in. And I'm not going to worry about surface measurements, writing on the glass, anything like that. This exercise is about Hand-eye coordination, building that accuracy. And notice how I draw these lines on here, right? Those are going to help me map the scale of those out. It's a little narrow. I'm not even wasting time with erasing. I'm just drawing right over the form as I go. So now I have my two pieces here. Now I'm going to draw that last big piece, which was that diamond crystal. Okay, so I'm going to use the negative space between the bottom of from here to here and here to here, and I'm going to mark that first. Mark where the top of it goes. It's a little closer on this side than it is over here. The bottom's about right there. Good eraser. So that crystal's got a circle in the circle that then has the bevels. We can see through it to the point on the back side, so I'm going to show that and kind of measure out where that point is. And the last object was this little pebble right here. So once you're done, you have your forms on it, check the footprint, right? I'm lining up and drawing these lines and making sure that they're not spread too far apart or too close together. I'm measuring this distance and I'm measuring this distance and looking at it while it's in front of me. So once I know the footprint is correct, then I'm going to go in, and the last step is going to be to add that white piece of paper that it's sitting on, right? So that our glass doesn't look like it's mysteriously floating or levitating in the air. So I'm looking where the glass touches each edge. I'm looking at, does the location of that white edge change through the glass? So like in this bottle here, the paper looks like it's all the way up here and it curves a little bit. And then reappears back down here again. If you are seeing the corner of the paper, right, show that. So that the tabletop looks flat against the space behind it. Now, I would suggest doing several of these, maybe 3 or 4 minute, 5-minute drawings before you ever tackle your final draft glass drawing.